Hi, good afternoon, Nitin. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, Gaurav. As great as you have keep me over the calls, over the meetings, right? Over our each interaction. It is always great to interact with you and to learn.
Absolutely. The pleasure is ours. And welcome to the podcast of Joy of Performing, where we talk about topics which really matter to the business world, to the HR world, and the global economy as a whole. So today, our topic is actually very interesting and something that is going to be of use to many different people. Come from different backgrounds as well, which is a vision for happier India, what HR has to do with the nation building. HR has always been a support function in the business. Forget about the nation building as a whole. But it's interesting when we spoke about this and you were excited that yes, this is something that you would want to talk about. So without much ado, why don't we let you introduce yourself, your background, and why are you in HR, and why do you care about nation building? So over to you, Nitin.
So thank you, Gaurav, for giving this opportunity to talk about here and happy and progressive India. Way back in 2006, I left my government job, right? Uh, After working for 5.5 years in Ministry of Defense. And when I left, in my resignation, I said that I'm leaving the organization with the vision to see the happy and developed India. They said, what you're talking about, you are having a pensionable job. Why don't you stick to this? And what do you mean? I said, I want to see a real India, which is progressive and as a developed India. And I think to accomplish my vision, I need to train myself. I need to learn a lot, right? And I need to ensure that whatever I learn, I should give back to the society. So with this thought, I left that job. Since then, whatever I do, right, I try to engage many partnerships, many people into it, because what I believe it that whatever we are doing it's an input from my side or from your side, but it's an output for someone else. So it's an input to input theory which works for me. It's an input to output theory which works for me. It's an output to input theory which works for me. So your output can be my input also. And that's on a continuous journey which we need to build in. So why HR when you say why I joined Asia? Because I thought that who can do this? So we have some kind of an L&D department into the Asia. So I started my journey as an L&D person. And I still remember when I joined one of the organization, I may not name it, uh, but during my induction day, so when the induction was happening, they said that, okay, आप करेंगे हमें groom or हमें train. So let's see what that. And in that organization, I was able to do the 10,000 man-hour training on that time within the less than 2.5 years of time. And when I say that 10,000 man-hour training is not that kind of a training. We have built those people who were working on the shop floor, right, or in the field, and we have given them the platform of CII, FICCI, World Economy, and there they have presented their thoughts. From there, they get to know that okay, what we can bring in back to our shop floor, what we can bring it back to our people. So that kind of a passion which has been created there, that makes this in. I still remember that I got my first award 20 years ago from the sales team. So when you understand the sales, when you understand their pains, that what kind of problems they face during interacting with the different field. Now the retail sales is very different than your B2B sale. Now your B2B sales to the government and to the industry will be very different. So you need to understand that what kind of technicalities they needed to address, what kind of a technical knowledge they need to have, what kind of a sales pitch they need to bring in. Now that kind of an expectation you need to explain to your shop floor people. So that integrated approach you need to bring in. Then from where you will get that kind of financial support also, the management support, the strategy support, actionable support. Then you need to go back to your field and ensure that it is happening or not. So I may tell you that when I joined that organization, we hit by the global recession also, but we haven't fired any single person. So that kind of an proposition you can create within the organization with your right kind of an intent and content. That whatever you're doing, that bit for the organization, and the organization can build in the future also. So how one business helping the other business, that's very important. How your retail identity can bring in the more employability in the organization. How your stakeholder management can create a wealth and the valuation for all your stakeholders. Because I always believe that whosoever leave his home in the morning, he comes to the floor, he comes to the office, he comes to the field for working. Because earning is not a one thing, but they want to establish this thing that yes, they are contributing in this system, and that contribution makes him recognized in the industry. So that kind of a recognition can comes. That is the passion which drives me to this HR field.
Lovely. And what is the context of nation building? While we understand your own particular passion of recognition, helping people, helping organization, why so much love for the nation building?
Okay, Gaurav, we need to understand that nation is nothing but you and me. If my per capita income is increasing, it is going to contribute in the overall economic growth. We have seen that the days when my parents were working, we need to struggle for that kind of 2 rupees in the end of the month. Right? I come from the middle class family and the family of 5 people, where you need to ensure that you have a budget for everything. Right? How you can increase that income for each one, and that income can be spent on the right things. So when we started our career, we were building necessity and somewhat of the luxuries, right? Today we are blessed that our parents has given us something more, that we can build more on the luxury. Now that luxuries become the necessities today. At one point of time, having an AC and the any vehicle at the home, it may be a luxury, but today it's a necessity also. Because if you need to commute fast, you need to have that fast vehicle with you, right? You need to cover 5 meetings in a day. Earlier, the one meeting may be enough for you, but today it is not enough. Today, you need to meet 50 customers. You need to bring back the business, right? You need to ensure that whatever you are giving back to the customers, it is somewhere giving the savings to the customers also. Now, giving from that era to today's, we are talking about EVs. Now, that what EV is bringing back to the nation, it's not only the sustainable environment, but it's a sustainable income also. If you are able to save 600 rupees of a petrol on a bike or on a three-wheeler, that means that 600 rupees coming to your expenditure, right? You can spend that much money more, which means that you can send your kids to the better school, you can give them the more food, which means the healthy India also. So it's all connected, it's all connected.
I think it's said beautifully that it is all connected. We start with the basics, go from the need to the want, and how things which come together connect the dots and come together to build that nation. So beautifully said. Since we are on the EV subject, and that is somewhat of an interest to you, and you're in that space as well. Do you think this whole EV wave, which is running through, is going to have a huge impact on how India is built over the next, let's say, 10, 20 years? Or this is just a fact which is going to die down?
Okay, so one thing is there that nothing will die. You may have seen that new things will be coming up. uh, Even I'm not supposed to tell you that what we are working on or the innovations we're working on, but yes, uh, number of innovations are happening, right? Either it's on a solar, either it's on a hydrogen, biomass, Now, challenges not only to this, challenges whatever the ways these things are generating, how you are going to manage that.
Or take it to masses, right?
Yeah. Scalability when you talk about, right? When you scale that, so those scalability will give you the another challenges also. So that is those challenges will give the birth to the new industry. So why not I will be into that industry? Earlier we have another day I wrote it on LinkedIn also that the idea or the industry which we call the concurrent industry is fading up. So that kind of a partnership should be building the another industry with the concurrent industry. How you can bring in more stakeholders into your stake, that is the beauty of the business. And that's where I think EV can or the new age industries need to think on those lines.
It's very interesting, Nitin, that you say that, and great to see that someone from the HR world coming so close to the business world and talking about innovation and things that can help build our country, or build the economy of India as well. But how did that journey take place? From being a logistical HR to, as you said, you started as L&D, to understanding business side of it, coming into the business, and now being playing a part in innovation too. So how did that journey take place, and what is your recommendation to people who are HRs of the world today? How do they take that journey forward?
Gaurav, with true humbleness, I have been built by the some of the big businesses also or the businessmen also. And I got on a great opportunity way back in 2010 to lead the capability building of Mahindra and Mahindra, which has given me the chance not to build the capability inside the organization but with the dealers also. Now, my first gurus are not only those because I work with CII, FICCI, so that has given me another. So that is the reason I have a multiple industry experience, exposure. My designation always talked about the HR, but I'm not an HR guy. I'm a business guy. I understand business. I understand industry. I understand the promoter's mindset also. And I'm blessed that I have reported to many promoters, and today they were into the Forbes list also. Right. So I learned from them. I dealt with their expectation. Uh, Sometimes I used to question those expectations also, right? The way of working also, from hire and fire to bringing the uh, open vacancy rate under 3%. So that kind of an courage you need to have in you. You need to have a conviction in that to और वो ना हर प्रोफेशनल लीडर को अपनी पूंछ में आग लगानी होती है. अभी हम जितने लोग हैं we are so insecure, right, and we are so self centered कि हम चाहते हैं हम दूसरे को हनुमान बना के उसकी पूंछ पे आग लगाएं. इन लास्ट 2.5 decades मैंने अपनी पूंछ पे आग लगाई है, लेकिन मैंने किसी को जलने नहीं दिया अपने अलावा. Right, so that way you need to have an interest, real interest for others. People may take you wrong, people may not understand, you may lose your jobs, you may lose your authority, but that's not required. Real passion for real people for building India for years, that must be your passion.
Yeah. And that can be lost in the noise, right? Like how you rightly said, sometimes your own self insecurity, sometimes you're selfish, what do you want to achieve can come into the whole medium of what you want to achieve as a goal, for in the long run. So it's interesting you said that. Please carry on.
So when you said that, why I'm in so much in business, because when I was going to the dealers, right, they were into the multiple businesses, right. I have traveled when I served in my first phase of the automobile industry and the automotive industry. In 1500 odd days I traveled. In the month of November of 30 days, I used to travel for 28 days. In one day, I have traveled four cities or the four towns or villages. So I know rural India, I know the consumer behavior, and that is the reason I talk so passionately about them.
Right. Since we are talking about building better India, or helping the nation through business, through HR, through people, talk to me about, is the gap between the rural and the urban India getting small? At one point, like 10 years, 20 years back, it was huge, right? And that is where the migration used to happen a lot from the rural to the urban India. Is that coming closer with the help of technology, with the help of disruptions which are happening in the business world? Would love to know.
Absolutely. But ironically, I may tell you one thing. In 2010, I was in a one village sitting with the one of the farmer. Though I have a home in Delhi. I was not having a computer in my home. I was not having any single vehicle at my home. I was not having an AC in my home. That farmer has a solar panel. That farmer has a 60 HP tractor. That farmer has a Bolero. That farmer has a laptop, not a computer, but the laptop. That farmer has a horses. That farmer has a cows. That farmer has a buffalo. And that's a very, very simple farmer. So I may tell you, it is not about rural India and it's not about the urban India. It's about the thought. It's about the intent, right? Their affordability is there. We as a business leaders, as an HR leaders, need to understand that what our organizations can afford. We should not come with any kind of policies or the framework if we can't afford. And I'm not only talking about the affordability in terms of money, in terms of my capability to understand, to adapt. That also we need to understand. I see number of people said that we need to have a pet policy. Why? We need to have a different policy for different generation. Why? If you have a one common goal, please work for that one common goal, one common objective. Why you're creating a sub-objective? You are the only one who are creating the silos in the system. It's not that if you are having a divide policies, if you work in silos, how you will achieve your common objectives and especially the long-term ones.
Sure. No, understandably. Understandably. So, Nitin, what is the Nitin, let's say 3.0? 1.0 was an HR, 2.0 was somebody who was to expand on business. What is your next move going to be as a Nitin 3.0?
See, one thing you need to learn, relearn, unlearn each and every minute. Forget about today's dynamics are very different. You can't sit and say that, okay, I will think. You need to be very fast in your decision. And don't feel shy and emotion if you need to take back your decisions, to take new decisions. Be appreciable to everyone. Be flexible to take the next decision. Be appreciable to take new technology, adopt new technology. I may tell you that one day one of the colleagues said that, are you on Google? I said, just type my name and then please let me know. And he typed my name on the chat GPT. He said, I never thought that chat GPT will talk so positive things about you, right? Because you are talking to me in the eye of increments and the performance and the policy frame. But Nathan is not restricted to that. Nathan is much bigger and beyond that.
Hey, let me challenge you on that thought, Nitin, because we like to talk about that we need to be dynamic, change our decisions, pivot, move quickly, etc. But at the end of the day, we still have to think about that it takes time. Whenever we decide something, it takes time for us to reap benefits of that decision, right? And if we are changing too much, and if we are changing our decisions too much, we are not patient enough to give it enough time for it to give the kind of results we're looking for. If we are pivoting all the time, then whatever strategy that we have for ourselves or for business, we are not executing on that strategy enough for us to get the results. So, there is always a dichotomy here, that whether too much dynamism is good, or it's actually taking you away from your goal.
So, Gaurav, thank you for asking me this. So, when I said that you need to take your decision or retake your decision, I never said that you have to take your decision in the new decision that it will be going away with the last decision. You may stick to your decision. That much of the intelligence you have to use. But the only thing is align most of the stakeholders into this.
And that's the hardest part, right? I'll give you an example. I was having a business meeting, I think, a couple of days back, and one thing that I realized was that no matter what I was thinking in my brain, I was not aligning the people with that, and they were thinking something absolutely different, and we lost almost a quarter because I had taken it for granted that just by telling them my goal, they would understand the whole picture and kind of run forward with it. But we were running in very different directions. So absolutely aligning the stakeholders, the hardest part ever. And if you're able to do that, the momentum can be 100x.
So sometimes, see, if you are able, when I say that you need to align, right? I will give you one example. I joined one of the organization, right? Some of the real examples I'm giving you. And when I joined that organization, I see number of uh, data things are talking about it, and I said that we need to change something on the leaves and the way we give leaves. And again, that management is very emotion with their uh, what you call that, the 13, 14 people group in every company nowadays we have, especially in the promoter driven organizations. Even yeah, and we have that carcass in MNCs also, right? It may not be with the but it may be with the CEO or CBOs, right? So we always have this carcass in each and every industry and the places, even in our families also. Right? Now I said, okay, so I have put in one meeting, then we have put in second meeting. In third meeting, my managing director said, Nathan, please shut up and we will not discuss about it. I said, thank you for this. Right? But after 6 months, we changed the policy. So what we did it, we were able to align two stakeholders by the first month. We were able to align other stakeholders by the 4 month, and 13 stakeholders we were able to align by 7 months. And we implemented that policy. Right? Sometimes you have a consultants comes in place. These consultant challenge. Then you say that this ex consultant coming from the outside and challenging my internal team, do my team is ready to accept that challenge what the consultant is giving. He is saying that this team doesn't have that capability. So sometimes you become a Subhash Chandra Bose, sometimes you become Gandhi, but you need to align people, whatever role you want to do it. And sometimes you need to be work as a Hitler also. Okay, enough is enough. I listened to everyone. Now this is you have to do. So that way you have to. You can't be in a one mode of the leadership.
I think that's a great point, and leaving the audience at the end of our podcast with this message of alignment, whether it's as an HR, as a business leader, or a nation as a whole, I think that is where the biggest momentum comes from. So that's great. So, Nitin, any last thoughts, before we let you go off the podcast today?
Uh, I think one has to see whatever we are doing, are we really contributing? If we are not making any contribution, please recheck. Am I doing right? Your contribution may not be visible, may not be understandable by each, but ensure whatever you are doing, it should contribute into the P&L of the company, of your own P&L, of the nation, right? And P&L, again, I'm saying it is not only the accounting figures, but how many people are again calling you in the orders and taking your advice? That can be a great contribution. I may give you the last example here. One of the new person joins us, and there is an old guy who is in the system from last 5 years with us, he has some pain area because now he has to report him. But he directly called me in the evening and said, "Sir, if this happen, I will never report to him. If I need to put my papers, I will." I said, "First of all, I really feel privileged that you are directly calling to CHR and you have shown me that much of trust. Let us, I understood you, I listened you, but let us meet in person to discuss it further." So that means that I'm making my contribution right. I'm allowing people to come back to me, share their thoughts. And now my job is to align. So for alignment, you need to listen first.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Nitin. And if our audience wants to reach out to you, what is the best way they can do that?
They can reach to Gaurav Sabharwal to reach me, right? Because Gaurav talk about the job of performing with the happy faces, and I'm available on LinkedIn, right? And anybody can type my name on LinkedIn and they can reach out. I sit in Jasola, Upal Plaza, sixth floor in Omega Sigi. Here you can come and meet me. We can have a cup of coffee here, right? And Khindria Nitin at the rate Gmail is my personal email ID. If you want to reach out to me there. If you want, I can share my number also.
No, that's fine. I think that's enough. Thank you, Nitin. Thanks for this. This was great.
My privilege, and I apologize. I do not want to hurt any sentiments here because I know, but I need to be real on my thoughts. I need to be authentic, right, in my thoughts. And I really want to work for India, for the Indians.
And let's be unapologetic for that. Let's not apologize for that. Let's be proud that we are doing what we are doing for our nation, for the business that we are doing.
Thank you, Gaurav, for encouraging me.
Thank you. Thank you.